You have walked the roads of Ironbound March. You have seen its walls, its villages, its fragile defiance against the wild. But stone and steel are not what define this land. It is what hunts within it. The march is not merely a frontier, it is a wound. And from that wound, things crawl. Warbands gather beneath ash-choked skies, hardened raiders who test the strength of these borders. Creatures twisted by ember and smoke stalk the forests at dusk. And beneath the earth, older powers stir. The people build their keeps high, because they know what lies below. Deep within the scorched stone rests a dungeon carved not by mason, but by fury. A place where fire once answered to will. A place abandoned, not because it was conquered, but because it could not be contained. Every enemy in this land serves a purpose. They are not obstacles, they are pressure, they are warning. Ironbound March is a proving ground. It teaches fear, it teaches strength, it teaches survival. And now, we descend into the forces that shape it. Let us see what truly rules the march.
Welcome back to another episode of creating Ironbound March. So now we're into some nitty gritty of creating NPCs, monsters, classes, elites, and the dungeon, as well as most importantly the quest line, which will successively take players from this starting point all the way down here, hopefully to the end of the zone, all the way over here. So, first things first, a few things to explain for this part of the episode. So I will leave you with this beautiful view of Golden Reach proper. So we're mainly focusing, to be honest, on this design section down in the bottom right. So if I click on game, it will tell you a good few things. This, I don't know if this opens up over time, but you can see we've got 2 dungeon boss slots, which means each dungeon can have 2 bosses. You can also put elites in to be mini bosses. There's 5 dungeon monster slots, so each dungeon can have its own 5 different monsters, which don't come from your they don't take away from your original monster slot. I've done this development whilst making this zone to allow 16 player classes, which sounds like a lot, but you will understand there's actually 8 classes you can play, but it's doubled because I've done this amazing thing where there's a male and female version of each. There's 10 NPC slots, so in the background of me updating all this stuff, I'm going to leave the game on fast forward, and on top of that I will be completing the developing as we go on. So let's talk about classes. So there's a male and a female class on each of these classes. I've used these classes before. They are absolutely fantastic, and they take a lot of pain out already for you, for if you're going to try and make them yourself. Essentially, I didn't make these classes. I looked through the MMORPG Tycoon 2 Discord server, and there's a card sharing channel. Within that channel there is a person, I can't remember the name of them, but shout out to them, who has in fact copied the male versions of these classes and turned them into females. So if you go into, for example, the Druid, as players start playing with this class, they will be assigned tiers, and each class at the moment probably should be around S tier, but you can see their optimal DPS, etc, etc. It's very important to have a range of these. as you can see, their optimal DPS is a 2.4, but they get a lot better later on. Yeah, you need a variety of these because essentially each class now has a system where when they go into a dungeon they will be assigned a DPS role, a healer role, or a tank role. Within this game, a really cool ability, so we'll use the paladin because there's a lot of them. Players will have a base health, and then as they level up, that health will increase. So paladins start with 14 health, they're quite tanky. 8 mana, so it's a mana based resource, and it has a 4 base speed. If you go into the abilities, there's abilities already pre-populated with these cards all the way to level 20, which is fantastic. They'll start with some starting abilities, so they have a siphon ability and a damage ability. When they get to level 4, for example, they now also have a taunt, which if you've ever played an MMO, you know what a taunt is, as well as a stun. You can add area effects, you can change the range, and you can also change the visual of how this looks, which I think is actually fantastic. So repentance, you see it's like a swell, so really it should be a spin attack like that. It's showing you on a target far away, even though it's melee range, just so you can see what it is. So we will go through and sort this out eventually, and we'll go through each, because I think that's the only thing that's not updated is the visuals on this. So that's just an attack animation. Maybe they are, I don't know. I'll go through and change a lot of them anyway. So we already have the hard work of characters or playable classes done for us, and each playable class, when you go to NPCs and do a quest giver, for example, you can use any of the monsters you have, any of the classes you have, as well as your NPCs as quest givers. And then it's the same for guards, and then trainers you need to place in areas where people level up, because when they level up they don't know how to use their new skill, so you need to put trainers down so that they can learn that. The bad news for having this many classes means I need to put 16 NPCs down in a zone for people to level up. So there we are on classes at the moment. Now we'll talk about monsters. Monsters are enemies that the players will be able to fight and gain XP and loot from. These are just prefabs that are already given to me. And then, obviously, we've spoke about NPCs. I've pre-populated 3 of these already with some, if you go on the farmhand, for example, go to model editor. If you go onto preset, this is stuff that's already saved onto the game. So if you look, you have a farmhand there. So that's pretty cool. A lot of creative work is sort of done for you in that sense. What else you can do is you can save prefabs into your own file system, and as you can see, I have loads, and they can then be imported. So the way you save a prefab is, for example, you go on the Discord, you right click the photo, click save image, save it into the MMORPG Tycoon's prefab folder within your game files, and then you can go straight here, open your prefabs directory or load your prefabs that are already here, and you can also export it, so then it can be shared by other players if you wanted to. So that is where we are in terms of design. So what does that lead me to next? First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place down some random NPCs. So the farmhand, I'll probably put a merchant down, a lumberjack around here somewhere, and then we will get into designing some of the guards as well. So within this area, it is owned by Afrix and the Concord. So the Concord is the sort of faction here. so I want them to have a specific colour and style to them. I will probably do a recruit and an officer of the Concord. Maybe a commander. Don't really know yet, but they will need to be in and amongst it, essentially, for all of these areas, and around Ironbound Gate and eventually Stonewatch Pass. So what we will do live here with you at the moment is we will click on down here, guide, farmhand, and we will put a farmhand in. And as you can see, it's on fast forward, so she'll move a bit erratically. But now there's a farmer here, just wandering around by herself. Shit, never mind, that is a quest giver, so we will destroy that. What I meant to do was put it down as a guide. Now, guides' roles in this is to point players in the right direction, so if a player gets lost, the guide can say, there is the trodden path, go follow it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but there might be she might turn into a quest giver at some point, but I don't know what I'm doing with the quest yet, so I'm going to put down a placeholder as a guide, and we can always change her out later on going forward. So now, if we move over to Golden Reach proper, we can put ourselves down a merchant or two. We will walk around this little market square. At the moment, there will more than likely be a merchant around here. And what else we will do is we will put a lumberjack or two around this area, and then to make the place look a little bit more lively, we'll add one or two around here. So now already there's people walking around. How much more to life does this place feel now? Now there's little dudes walking around doing their business, albeit in a very small radius, but there we are. That is now people in our little town, which I think is absolutely fantastic, to be honest. So the players are arguably quite substantially taller than the lumberjacks. Same with the hunter, but it does kind of make sense because they are quite small. So I might go back through the editor and edit the prefabs to make them a tiny little bit taller, because they are quite tiny at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll focus on Golden Reach proper for now. We'll make a few different NPCs going forward, and I will show you the next three that I make, hopefully being related to the Concord. So maybe I'll do a Concord officer, a Concord sorceress, and a Concord recruit, and then we'll be able to put them throughout, and we'll do a little bit of their abilities, and then what we'll do is we will start doing some monster stuff and add in some monsters in here. Again, this will be very much dead until we get players and I take the game from being offline to online. I'm not doing it yet because the tunes do get in your way sometimes when you're building in a zone, so I'm going to let that be. I'm also fairly conscious that I kind of want to turn this into a critter pen, maybe a hen house or a cow field, just for the shits and gigs of RuneScape and OSRS when you used to go cow fielding, and that's where you sort of used to train on to start with, and you can just sort of put a little fence in. I'll add the entrance to the fence over here, so that way players don't get attacked by the cows walking along the bloody path, and I'll just give the cows a really low attack. The only issue with that is players can come here and just scum a load of XP from these cows. So, bit of a catch-22. Anyway, let's design the 3 Concordian paths or archetypes. So we have now got 3 different Concordian sort of representatives, really. We've got the recruit, which you can see here, you know, just in, ready. They've got their little shield ready, plated armor on one side, small little cloth and chainmail in the middle. You've got the liaison, so the people that go to the villages to recruit said recruits, and then you have an officer here which has a little bit more decorated armor than the others. And I've now splodged them around the town, and as you can see, everywhere is slowly looking a little bit more full in this area. So I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to really like it, to be honest. I'm still undecided whether or not I want cows or chickens yet, but we'll make that decision soon. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to start adding all of these people around here as well. So, and here. So I'm fairly excited for what's to come. We've just started the smallest bit. You know, there's a few little farmers chilling around here. A little farmer there. Farmer in the wheat field as well. Oh. Let's distribute that. Right, we definitely need to start ramping up the NPC job. There's 6 bug reports, apparently. I don't know how we're getting bug reports when... Yeah, there's no one in the game, but anyway, 6 of them. 1 in the wheat field here, 1 there. Yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Don't really know what the next NPC as per is. I might just make a generic townsfolk, female townsfolk, male, maybe. and then just sort of dot a few of them around here as well. And then we'll get onto the monsters once I've done that. Yeah, it's going to be good. Right. So last time we left off, you would have seen me make some monsters. So I've made a load of wildlife. The idea is that in this first zone, Golden Reach Vale, they will only be fighting wildlife. I used quite a lot of presets and then altered them and changed them into something that I actually quite enjoyed. So the wolves are called March Stalkers. I've adjusted their stats a little bit. I've added bite, hamstring bite, and pack tactics. We also have the Ridge Beast, which is going to be a big territorial kind of boar bull thing. We have a carrion bird, which is really hard to make a bird look like it's flying. We have a porcupine, which is going to be a normal bull, but it has porcupines on it. And then we have a plain grazer, which is just a cow. So now let's add some of these in this zone. So to do that, we've got to go over to NPCs, set monster zones, and then you click and you can see here are some monster zones that you can place down. If you right click, you remove zone. If you left click, you place said zone down. So what do I want? I want the carrion birds to sort of, it doesn't really look like it's flying, does it? But anyway, just pretend that's flying. I want some carrion birds in this zone here. Not too many, just a few. As you can see, the trees now cannot be clipped through. So if we put minimal and then respawn, apply, and respawn now, replace monsters. Light, replace monsters. Normal, replace monsters. And if we go crowded, replace. Okay, only 3 is spawning in this area. Do you know what? I'm okay with that. That made me look a bit like a cock. So let's place some of these birds in a few different little areas. I like the idea of the birds being around there as well. So they're scavengers. They're going to come around. They're going to scavenge. We're going to be happy with that. Now, I would like probably its own territory over here. A few ridge beasts. They don't actually look that big, but there they are. I also would like some wolves. I wish you could. I want some wolves this side of the forest. So, wolves. How much of them are fit in here? 3, maybe. This to be crowded with wolves. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what that noise is. It keeps happening, but something does. Then we can add some maybe balls along this little path here and this little path here. Any of them spawn? None there. We've got one. We've got 2 balls here. Yes. Oh shit, that's a lot. Happy with that amount of balls. 2 over there as well. Cool. And then I'm going to say I want some more wolves in this area here, stalking people. That's quite a big monster zone. So it tells you how many monsters are in there. So it's 13 in that zone. There's 5, 16, 2, 6, 3, 4. Maybe we can add some more birds in that area. Maybe we add some more birds this side of the farm. What do we think of that? I think that's a good idea. So add some more birds. That's going to be some weird combat up that, but essentially the birds are like scavengers. And then I'm going to do that thing that I said I was going to do, which is add a cow for cow fields. So we will go here, take that off. I think we do that. Now add snapped walls. And now we have a cow field. Oh fuck. There's cows outside the field, so let's just clean that up because I don't want... Yes, go in your pen. Shit. Now they're all dead. Pardon me. 3 cows. I mean, you can definitely fit more cows in there. So now you see these big red zones, which are monster zones, which we have now placed. We have some ridge beasts, which... What happens? Let's see how big they actually are to a druid. So, okay. For whatever reason, I now... They are not as big as what I thought they were going to be. So let's just follow me into the monster area for ridge beast. And we need to make this bigger. There we go. Now that's a lot more menacing. Now, if I mean, they're not much bigger than the balls still, are they? Okay. Let's change this again, because we have to get this right. It's a beast. It's meant to be an absolute unit. So maybe we scale this up. We apply. They now definitely look much larger. And I feel like if I was to... Okay, I'm happier with that. So we now have multiple monsters that can actually be fought. So This is good progress. There's going to be no monsters in Ironbound Gate. Ironbound Gate is going to be completely safe. But with all things considered, I do actually have to start putting some... Why is this broke? Okay, that worked. What the fuck? That was strange. Anyway, I'm going to populate Ironbound Gate now. Not with too many guards, because I imagine most of the players are probably going to be here. So let me go and do that quickly, and I will be back after. So we'll just quickly do a quick follow over here. I've not put too many guards in all of this area, but as you can see, there's enough to make it look populated as if no one else was here. But I'm hoping lots of players will be running to and from here, because there's an inn and a respawn point. So oh, we can deploy a new NPC, which leads perfectly onto getting a new monster type. Because we have plenty of monster types to get going. So there's going to be a few bits of wildlife in here, but for the majority I'm going to add some bandits and stuff like that. There's obviously a thing here for wolves, which I think was pretty cool. Sort of ambush point for bandits. Some stuff up here. I might add like some type of nasty bit of fauna. Again, lots of places to fight in the next zone. So we're nearly there in terms of putting monster zones down. And if I go interact, look, there's beasts, there's things. There's things in our place. It's amazing. Okay, before I get carried away, I'm going to do some time-lapsing of monsters. So, prepare to listen to the same music you've listened to for the past 2 episodes. Woo!
Cool. So now, what I have done is I've placed a few guides in Ironbound Gate. You can see by all the red zones, I've now also placed monster zones. They're not really crowded, which hopefully is an okay thing. I don't really want to add too many hunt quests, so players can just passively grind the mobs. We've got a little ambush here where these mobs should run in and it will look like they're attacking the ambush on this sort of broken caravan. We've got an elite down here, which is like a better boss, and got another set of wolves here outside the den. Up top we've got some unbound arcanists and mages, same with at the front here. Sort of dotted them around. What I might do quickly is place some guards over here. Where are they? Where are you? There we go. Add a few guards there, just makes it look like there's people patrolling it. We've added over here a monster zone with 2 guards, so they should fight each other. Makes it look like they're under attack from all sides. There's another boss up here, and then if we go to the bandit HQ, which they'll have to fight mini mobs to get into, there's a boss here also. So the plan is now, we're pretty much done, to be honest. So I think what I'm going to do is create the quest line, and then we will finish with the dungeon design. This is probably going to be a longer episode than the previous 2, just because I want this zone done, essentially, for then. And we can then open the gates and we will pretty much let our players wander around. We'll probably preview the gate opening. We'll configure the major update to release all this stuff, and we will watch some players play. I will fast forward some time, hopefully, and we'll see hopefully the zone progress and hopefully people somewhat spread out through the quest line. So I'm going to time lapse me making some quests, and then I will come back and I'll show you the quest line in its entirety. So I'll see you after that. So what have we got to with the quest line? So first dude, you run up to him, and he has a call to order which will take people to Golden Reach proper. This chap here will do part 1, part 2 and part 3, which is go to the blacksmith, go to the tavern, go to the potion shop, and then he gets people to go to Agspire, who is a merchant, and this merchant is tasked with go and kill some wolves in this zone, and then I need you to deliver the pelt to the guards in Ironbound. Once you've delivered the pelt, this chap right here says, I don't like all the weird stuff around here, so you have to go and fight some beasts, which are called hoglins. Once you've finished killing the hoglins, you need to go and fight some unbound arcanists, which are these people trying to do some dodgy stuff. They're trying to make a ritual in this ruin that is going to help blow a hole in the gate. Then you worry because there is a supply disruption somewhere, and you are sent over to this chap here, which you have to go and see, and hopefully you get attacked from here, or if you come off the road here, hopefully one of these attack you. Then you have to root the cell, so you come down here and you fight this elite. This is your first elite to fight, and then you have a thing called the cost of order, which takes people all the way to the forward camp, and then in said forward camp we have a chap here who takes you to the dungeon. Then you have to kill some of the recruits here, then you kill the boss, then you kill some more recruits, and then you kill the boss. So it takes you to everywhere, and then no quest, so you don't get forced. This is what I'm going to call as MSQ, main story quest line. And then in Hearthbreak Hamlet, which is a little side piece, there's a farmer here with a secondary quest line, which is, they're all hunt quests, so they all tell you to go and kill stuff. So one of them tells people to kill stuff here, another one tells them to kill the wolves down here, and another one tells them to kill the ridge beasts, which are quite hard to get to, which is why on that quest you get 200 XP. Nothing tells people to kill the birds, but I'm sure people will try and find these anyway, to be honest, so it doesn't really matter. They're there for scavengers. So next on the to-do list before we can open the game is to create the dungeon, Ironbound Oath. So what I will do is enter said dungeon with this button, and then it takes you into the dungeon. There's a few different things you can do here. You have to create a dungeon exit. This is where players will enter and exit said dungeon. You can create some dungeon tiles, you can paint and add some weird cool stuff, and then there's doors, keys, a little bit of treasure / loot, and you can place monsters. So these are all monsters. You can put down normal or elites, and then bosses in dungeon design. Oh wow, this is cool. I didn't know you could make that. That's actually sick. Anyway, what the hell, there's lighting as well. Fucking hell, they've added a lot to this. Information. What's off map? Right, well no shit. Codex. Oh, that just tells you about everything. Okay, sorry, my bad. Then you go into bosses, and you can see here we have 2 boss slots. So, I'm going to do some messing around, and I'm going to make a dungeon for us with a boss at the end, and then we will go through, look at the boss, and then I will finally open the game to the players. It says active. There's 8 players that can be in here. 2 active instances. Oh shit, okay, that's cool. This has so much more detail up here. Anyway, before I get carried away, let's get on with it. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so we have what I would say made a somewhat feasible dungeon. This will get overhauled eventually with some more decoration, but I'm just really keen to get it open. It will eventually have similar detail to the outside world. So, players will start here, which we will call the entrance gate. They then move forward to the outer barracks. Sorry, you can also hear the place falling apart because I've added avalanche sounds. Where the bandits have set up a camp here. They have to get the key to unlock this door, which moves them through here to some type of ritual room with a fountain, some ruins. They can then choose to go through here if they would like to another ruined room to fight a few of these guys, but they don't have to. And then the boss is here, which they will have to fight. And the boss is called Commander Halvran. So let's change his name. Commander Halvran. You'll get 650 XP for killing him. You'll get 5 gold. Fuck it, we'll make this more. We'll give you 50 gold, so you get half your gold back on entry, and you get some loot and some vendor trash. So, he has 3 different phases. So if we go into the dungeon, obviously I haven't tested this, so I don't actually know how hard he is. This is him. Boss phases, there's 3. So the first phase, he's got 30 health, and he has a shield bash which stuns targets, a basic attack which does a little bit of damage, and then he's got marked target where he does more damage to a specific target. And this is called tactical authority because it's all about dodging stuns. Players can't do that, so they will get stunned, but that's the sort of ethos behind it. The next stage is called Desperation. So at this point, he's got the same abilities, but now he's re-healed to 100 health, and he's going to start doing some cleaves in a small little cone area in front of him. And then the last one has every ability, but he's got 25 health. However, he has an ability called Last Stand, where he gets 100% protection, so he shouldn't take any damage for 8 seconds. So that's more of a durability test for 8 seconds. And then the players, if they want to stay alive, is going to have to DPS down his 25 health. It does have a 5-second cast time, so it will take some time for him to cast it, so they might even kill him if they chain their abilities correctly before he even does Last Stand. So it's durability, could be a DPS skip, etc, etc. So now we can activate the dungeon. We can configure this to the maximum amount, so there can be 10 dungeon slots at a time. Although what I might do, actually, is put this to 4 dungeon slots at a time. Just so it makes people queue up outside. Because I'm an asshole like that. Now, we can leave the dungeon, and it's no longer red. We can go over here to something I've been waiting for a long time. We can turn our game online, and then we can open the spawn point. And there we go. December, our first player. Look, they're coming in. We've got a paladin and a warrior. And a hunter. And a warlock. People are coming to play the game. Now they should all get quests from this guy to start with. Then they can talk to the guides lot and ask for directions of where the hell do I go. Oh, this is cool. This is pretty cool. Oh, this is sick. This is absolutely sick. I love this. Here they go. Running off together. So you need 4.8k XP for level 1 to level 2. Like I said, this game's going to be a grind game. So they're going to have to play a lot if they want to do anything. Look at this. We have 11 people online. Here they are. In all their glory. Go, my minions. Oh, I love this, man. This is amazing. They're playing my game. Wow. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, someone's already got their first kill. Tip top. Killed a bird. Get a bird. 130 XP. It's pretty much level 2. Look, someone's going into cow fields. Oh my god. Look how memorable this is. They're owning him. Kill the cows, bro. This person's like a dirty casual. But the expertise is newbie. I don't know what that means. I can't believe they just went straight in to farm cows. That's incredible. There's already bugs, so people are, all my devs are trying to fix the bugs. So this is cool. I'm going to fast forward some time and hopefully we will capture my first dungeon run that they do, and we'll be able to see what the crack is with that. So let me fast forward some time and we will skip to when players do some interesting things. So thank you. Taunt. needs to taunt. Warrior needs to taunt. Oh. Oh, they don't get a taunt till level 2. Fucking hell. Alright, never mind. Right, we've got to update this boss. Okay, key design flaw. There is no taunt. So we have to update the boss because there is no taunt. So we might have to get rid of the cleave. Probably get rid of the stun. We'll do the mark target. Maybe we'll do that. That should be enough. Go, my warriors, go. Go. Okay. Okay, they're doing well. They're tanking. They're tanking. They're tanking. Come on, Paladin. Nice. Good heal. You've got to protect the mage. Mage, run. Good heal. Come on. Good heal. No, he's doing his invuln. You've got to kill him. Kill him. No. He's invuln. Run, mage. Run. Come on. This could be the first full party to do it. Since the update. Go, go, go. Yes! Win! Good shit. I love that. Let's go. Come on. That's brilliant. How are these getting on? Is this another full party? That's another full party. They're doing it. Much better. Now there is no cleave. Oh, big stun though. Oh no. That big stun might have just killed him. Oh my god. No, good heal. Oh, they've done it as well. Okay. I think this is better. 1 out of 3 wins. 1 out of 3 wins. Okay, that's perfect. I want it to be somewhat hard still. Cool. Let's leave the dungeon. I'm happy with this. Time has skipped forward quite a lot since last time you've seen. There's currently nearly 8,000 subscribers to my game, and 800 of those players are in this bloody zone. Look how much more populated this is. Look. Got players running up. They're sending each other instant messages. They're running through Ironbound Gate. I mean, they love Golden Reach proper. This is where the majority of them have residence. I think they've now started using this inn. I believe there's another inn up here as well, which they've also started using. So I'm quite happy with this so far. I've not seen anyone do the quest to kill these yet, but as you can see, people are grinding. They're partying up, they're killing mobs, look. They're doing what they can. They're doing what they can, so I would say this has been a success. I mean, look. There's people everywhere. There's people over here, this side now, because they've got to get quests. I might have to add a few things, because at the moment they're only going left because there's monsters and they're not going right. So I might, let's just do this now. We will add new quests. We will give them 25 gold for the doing the quest. Give them 50 XP as well. It'll be find my map. And that'll send some people over that way. And then we want some people over there. It can be ask for assistance. Ask for assistance. Give a little bit of XP and a little bit of gold for that too. So that's where we are. I'm undecided if I want to do the next zone for this, or I want to do the next starter zone for this map. I've not quite worked it out as of yet, but I would say a pretty good success, all things considered. Yeah, I don't know why they're using ghosts, to be honest, when they can resurrect. So it's a little bit weird. A lot of them seem to be using ghosts, including in this respawn down here. A lot of them seem to be using ghosts, even though there's no gold equated to it. People seem to be slaughtering the cows. A few players have died here apparently. That means they are noobs. They like attacking the birds. As we can see, Falcon is going to die. Oh, 0.7. He nearly killed the bird. Not quite. So there we are. I'll catch everyone in the next episode. Thank you. And this is Ironbound March.